Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This autumn I will be able to show you some of my favorite places here in Paris. Today with my friend we're exploring the Musée Rodin, one of the most romantic art museums dedicated to the sculptor Auguste Rodin. It's not only a museum, it's more like the mix of art and history and the beautiful gardens that I will show you shortly. The museum is located in the 7th district of Paris, right next to Les Invalides. It's open from Tuesday to Sunday and the full price ticket is 14 euros. But here is a great tip. Every first Sunday of the month, entry is completely free for everyone. And we were lucky to come on the 5th of October, so we didn't even need to buy tickets. We spent around an hour and a half here, which was enough to explore the galleries inside and, of course, enjoy the stunning gardens filled with Rodin sculptures. Auguste Rodin is a French sculptor of the 19th century, and what is so special about him is that he is considered a pioneer of the modern sculpture. In his sculptures, he wasn't focused on perfection, and many others did back in time. He focused more on the raw emotions, on the raw feelings, on the raw movement, and as well imperfection. This was super unusual for people in the beginning, but also this kind of changed the way of people perceived the sculpture, opened them the new perspective on how it can look like. This museum is set in a beautiful 18th century mansion where he lived and worked. Just before his death, he gifted all his sculptures and all his works to the French state, with the only condition that after his death, this will be a museum dedicated to his work. We started our visit with the gardens because the weather was just too beautiful to stay inside. The garden itself feels like an open-air museum surrounded by greenery, roses, fountains, and of course Rodin sculptures everywhere you turn. One of the most haunting works here is Ugolino and his sons. It's based on Dante's Inferno, the story of Count Ugolino, who was imprisoned with his children and starved to death. Rodin captures that unbearable moment of despair. The rough, unfinished texture makes it feel raw and alive, as if they are still emerging from the stone, half alive, half lost to suffering. Next we saw the monument to Victor Hugo. This monument shows Hugo surrounded by allegorical female figures, representing inspiration and poetry, as if they are whispering ideas to him. Rodin wanted to capture not just the writer's likeness, but the creative storm happening inside his mind. The Walking Man is one of Rodin's most famous studies of movement. The version in the garden has a head, but there is another one inside without it. Later, he removed the head and arms to focus purely on movement. The result is this almost abstract embodiment of vitality and energy, as if the sculpture is truly walking. And here is one of Rodin's masterpieces, The Burghers of Calais. It tells the story of 6 citizens who offered themselves as hostages to save their city during the 100 Years' War. You can see a group version as well as individual sculptures of each man scattered around the garden. Instead of idealized heroes, Rodin shows ordinary men, exhausted, fearful, yet courageous. One holds the heavy key to the city, another raises his hands to his head in despair. Rodin's genius was to capture not just their physical forms, but their inner emotions, doubt, pride, pain, and courage, all in a single gesture. And here it is, The Gates of Hell, one of Rodin's most ambitious projects, which he worked on for over 30 years. Inspired by Dante's Inferno, it's covered with more than 200 figures, and if you look closely, you can spot some of his most famous works like The Thinker, Three Shades, and even Ugolino and his sons. Rodin often reused and reimagined his figures, combining body parts or poses in new ways. Nearby are Adam and Eve, sculpted in moments of vulnerability, almost ashamed of their own humanity. At the top of the gates, the 3 shades point downward like a haunting echo about the underworld. What makes Rodin's gardens so special is how these sculptures come alive in the open air, shifting lights, shadows, and raw textures. They're never flawless or idealized, they're human, full of emotion, and completely timeless. I absolutely love this museum for its stunning interiors, elegant rooms, soft natural light, and that beautiful staircase that makes the whole place feel like stepping back in time. The first thing you see as you walk in is the hand of God, a marble sculpture where a divine hand seems to form two human figures out of a raw stone. And just nearby there is a self-portrait of the master himself. The museum is really big and divided into several sections. I can't possibly show you every masterpiece I saw inside, but I definitely want to stop by some of the most famous ones. One of the first major works you see is the Age of Bronze. It was a master breakthrough piece, so realistic that when it was first shown in the 19th century, people accused him of casting it from a live model, but it was entirely sculpted by hand. The figure represents a young man awakening both physically and spiritually, full of life, tension and emotion, revolutionary for its time. Here inside you can find different marble versions and maquettes of the Gates of Hell. Many of the figures from the garden started as these studies, like Ugolino and his sons or the Three Shades. Seeing them lets you appreciate Rodin's process, how he explored form, movement and emotion, embracing imperfection to make his figures feel truly human. My favorite side of Rodin's art is his exploration of love and romance. He was fascinated by human emotion and often captured lovers in moments of vulnerability and connection. One beautiful example is Vertumnus and Pomona, inspired by Roman mythology. The god Vertumnus disguises himself to win the heart of Pomona, the goddess of gardens. Rodin captures the moment when love transforms them. Their bodies seem to merge as if they are becoming one. And then there is the kiss, probably Rodin's most famous sculpture. Carved from white marble, it shows two lovers frozen in a passionate embrace. The story again comes from Dante's Inferno, Paolo and Francesca, two lovers condemned to hell for their forbidden love. Yet Rodin's version feels more romantic than tragic, sensual, pure and deeply human. Another work that fits beautifully into this theme is the Cathedral, two right hands reaching toward each other, almost touching but not quite. It's incredibly simple yet powerful, a symbol of intimacy and the invisible space between two souls where connection truly happens. This was obviously just a small part of all the treasures you'll find at the Rodin Museum. There is so much more to explore, so if you're in Paris, definitely go and see it for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, your support really means a lot to me. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. Next, I'll be uploading a video with my friend from the US about what it feels like to turn 30 and how the perception of this age differs between the West and the East. Don't forget to click the little bell so you don't miss anything. Until the next one.